Just to let you all know, we've started recording and the meeting will begin in a moment. Okay, hello everyone and welcome to the Standards Committee meeting at 7 p.m. on Monday the 15th of June. There is no fire alarm planned for this evening. Should the fire alarm sound, please leave via the nearest available emergency exit. Two of the closest exits are through the glass doors behind you to my left and through the double doors on the riverside behind you. Please meet at the Tower House car park. Members of the public are welcome to make their own recordings of this meeting using whatever non-disruptive methods they think are suitable. I would like to remind everyone present that this meeting is being filmed and made available to view in live and archive form via the Council's website. If you are seated in the public gallery, it is possible that the cameras may capture your image. If you wish to avoid being filmed, it is recommended you make a member of staff aware who can direct you where to sit. The Westgate Garden gates on the riverside are locked at sunset, so members of the public must leave the Guildhall by the side exit behind the glass door. The role of this committee is to promote high standards of conduct from the Council's elected representatives. It does this by considering relevant new guidance and legislation that is referred to it by the monitoring officer and advising on any reviews of procedures and policies relating to them. It can also deal with any complaints referred to by the monitoring officer about breaches to the Code of Conduct and considers the annual government's report. The membership is made up of city councillors and non-voting parish co-opted representatives. On that note, I would like to welcome Shanice Howard-Sparks, who is the clerk of Wickham Parish Council, Barnaby Riggs, who is the mayor of Fordwich, James Hodgkinson, who is the vice chair of Upper Hards Parish Council and the Calc area committee chair, and one of our independent people, Jackie Dabner, who is here to observe this evening. At this point, I'd like to ask if there's any apologies of absence.
We have apologies from Councillor Buttman, Chair.
And do we have any substitutes?
We have Councillor Butcher this evening for Councillor Buttman.
Thank you, Lauren. I'll also mention that Councillor Connie Nolan, who is the portfolio holder for this matter, sends her apologies that she can't be with us this evening, but she is watching from home. Okay, we'll now move to minutes of the last meeting held on the 16th of December. Oh, sorry, can I ask for any declarations of interest by members or officers? I now invite Lauren to read out any declarations received in advance.
We've had none in advance, Chair.
Are there any further declarations from councillors? No? Okay. Then we'll move on to the minutes of the last meeting held on the 16th of December 2024, pages 5 to 7, to confirm as a true record the minutes of the 16th of December 2024. Can we have that by general assent? Okay, thank you. Okay, we now move on to item 5, which is the ethical governance update, pages 8 to 13 on the agenda. To note the report of Matthew Archer, the head of corporate governance. Also to present present to answer questions is Jan Geiler, the head of legal. I now invite Matthew to introduce the report.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, everyone. This is a once-a-year report that we produce for the Standards Committee, which is designed to just give councillors an overview of the sort of ethical governance issues that do occur within the council and how we deal with each of those. And I've given a summary under each of the subheadings of the things that have happened over the last year, just to remind you of what we do and some of the issues that have occurred. This is something that's looked for when we are audited that sits alongside the annual governance statement that we submit to the audit committee. What I was going to do tonight was just run through each of these as subheadings, just introducing them one at a time, and then giving you the opportunity to make any comments or observations or ask any questions under each of them, if that's okay with you. Okay. On the first one then, governance, which talks mainly about the review of the Constitution. This is something that the auditors look for in our arrangements is, have you undertaken a review of your Constitution each year? We had one report in 25-26, which came quite late in the year, which was mainly a tidying up exercise, has to be said. There weren't many fundamental changes. We looked to revise the officer delegations for neighbourhood plans in order that they could seamlessly manage the process end to end, and it was all clearly set out. And that reflects the fact that we've got 6 neighbourhood plans now in the pipeline from our parish councils, and we want those to be able to pass through the process in the best possible way. So the officer now is able to receive submissions and work with the parish council and the independent examiner on the to and fro of each of those as it goes through the decision-making process. We removed the number of limits, removed the limits on the number of times a person can speak at the planning committee, which was previously capped. And that reflects the fact that we had, on more than one occasion, reports that were coming back more than twice, and we felt it was unfair that people couldn't then make representations on the most recent changes if they'd already spoken. So that has now been reviewed and relaxed so that people can come to the committee more than twice. Just to pick out on a couple of other highlights, we granted delegated powers for the monitoring officer, Jan Geiler next to me, to be able to accept changes to memberships of committees, which was done, that will only be done by exception. Normally they'll be taken through to full council as normal, but in the event that we ever need to make a change at shorter notice, we now have the ability to do so. So it's trying to keep our arrangements as agile as possible. And finally, I was going to mention, and we might come to this later on, the adoption of a demonstrations protocol, which again was looking at how we manage conduct during meetings. I think we have noticed that on 1 or 2 occasions, it's still rare, thankfully. There have been incidences when there has been some disruption in the chamber, and we just wanted to have a clear process in place that the chair of the meeting who's presiding can follow, and the lead officer can also use in support. And it just sets expectations then for councillors in the chamber as well as those in the chair as to how we will manage those. So that's just a summary of some of the changes we've made to the Constitution in the last year. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Matthew. Does anyone have any questions on any of those points? No, in that case. Oh, Councillor Ricketts.
Just feel it's a shame to make Matthew give up his evening without actually letting him know we're here. Thank you for the report, Matthew. And I think I was just saying earlier on that the fact that there isn't anything particularly exciting in this report is probably testament to a huge amount of good work and hard work on your part. Not that I'm saying that the content isn't exciting, but the fact that there isn't a huge amount of debate about it as well. I think it was interesting. I just made a note, and things like the speaking at planning committee meetings, and I know that there are a number of other things that happen throughout the year which are really sensible, really common sense things that get changed by consensus and work through really, really well, and that keep these things flowing as well. I think there's other things like the introduction of the public speaking before cabinet, which I think has flowed through really nicely, something that we took as the lead from parish councils in the way that we do meetings, that ability for the public to come and address. I think, again, that's worked really well, and is, again, testament to how well those the ethos within this chamber is maintained, that those go really well and really respectfully. And some of us who perhaps spend time in other chambers not too far away from this are particularly grateful to the peace, calm and well-run meetings that happen here. So thank you for that.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Ricketts. Do you want to respond to any of that, Matthew? Does anyone else have any questions at this point? Councillor Old.
Go on then. Thank you, Chair. Thank you for the report. I guess my concerns are about what's not included rather than what is included. And I'm just interested about, is there any provision for dealing with issues where a councillor may be speaking in the chamber and saying things that are deliberately and knowingly untrue. How would we deal with that? I know that, for example, in Parliament and some regulatory bodies have provision for that. In Parliament, of course, they've got misleading the House. Is there any analogous provision within this council? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Holt. I'll ask Jan to respond.
I might actually need some time to just check through if we've got anything helpful in the Constitution on that point, because
Yes, that might be one to take away. I suppose it's very difficult to challenge what people are saying in the moment. So they would be accountable for what they are saying. And if they are speaking something that they know themselves to be untrue, then they must answer for it. If it's subsequently challenged and found to be untrue, there's a number of interpretations you could put on that, whether that was done deliberately or accidentally, based on a genuine misunderstanding. So quite difficult to regulate that, I would say, but one that we could take away and just have a think about.
Councillor Holt.
I did check the Constitution. I couldn't find any reference of this. I may have missed it. I just think it's an omission. So, for example, it could be somebody says something that could swing the debate in a certain direction, but have said it knowing it to be untrue. And I think there ought to be the opportunity to revisit that and to take some sanction against the councillor who made that knowing statement. Thank you.
No, I think once you get into sanctions, it becomes even more difficult. So that's definitely one we would have to take away and have a think about.
Okay, does anyone else have any questions or points to raise? No? In that case, I'll ask Matthew to continue with the report.
Thank you. Just to say on interest then, which is the next section, we are asked to evidence that we have asked you to make sure your register of interest is up to date at all times. You have 28 days to notify council of any changes, so it's a good opportunity to remind you of that. Alongside any declarations of gifts or hospitality, and I have to say we get very few of those, and I think understandably councillors are very cautious about accepting gifts or hospitality. There are thresholds over which they have to be declared. So we are challenged on our evidence of having reminded you, and I'm pleased to say that all of the interests that we're aware of certainly are on our register, and the updates happen very swiftly through our Democratic Services team. So thank you to all of you for keeping it up to date. Please tell your colleagues to do the same.
Okay, thank you, Matthew. Did anyone have any questions? Oh, I see Councillor Stockley.
Thank you, Chair. It's just basically a question that occurred to me. I was lucky enough to win a raffle at the Lord Mayor's ball, a prize, shall we say. I wasn't sure whether that should be declared, thinking about it latterly. As it happened, I won it at the Sheriff's and I passed it on to the Lord Mayor as a prize. So I didn't actually take it, but I was thinking, in value, in terms, it was in excess of what we are allowed to accept. But I just wondered your thoughts on that. Thank you, Matthew.
Yeah, technically not a gift, so I'd say you're okay on that. Yes, but and just in case you weren't, you've declared it now. So I should have added as well. The other thing that people do, I think, very well is declare at meetings, and I think it's something that we explain through induction and do remind you, obviously, from time to time. And we do occasionally have something that crops up in the meeting as well, and we remind people that they can declare as soon as they're aware, even if they are mid-debate, and exclude themselves. Thankfully, we don't get challenged very much on that, because I think people are quite studious about making declarations. And all of them are recorded under your councillor profiles online as well. So there's full transparency of those.
Okay, thank you, Matthew. Does anyone else have any questions or points to raise? No. In that case, I'll ask Matthew to continue.
I think Jan's going to take the next bit.
So I was still looking at the constitution on the last point. Complaints regarding councillors, we're very fortunate. We have very few of those. Everyone's generally very well behaved, which is really positive. The numbers look like they're significantly increased, but it's not something I'm concerned about on the basis that you'll note that, excuse me, we've moved from just 3 complaints last year, or the previous year, 24 to 25, and then 25-26 we had 7 complaints relating to 16 councillors. But just to reassure you, I can't obviously go into too much detail because no findings were made against the councillors, so it wouldn't be right to give the detail. But 3 of those complaints against parish councillors were from the same complainant on the same issue against some or all of the councillors in varying degrees. So there's no concerning pattern there of an increase, not something that I'm concerned about. And just to reassure, when I do assess those against the 2 screening tests, I always liaise and consult with the one of the independent persons, and we have one of those here with us this evening, who also looks at the draft decision notice, and we look at that together to make sure that we've covered everything that we need to.
Okay, thank you, Jan. Does anyone have any questions or comments on that? Councillor Riggs.
Thank you, Chair. Just a question that obviously the numbers for the parish councils do seem particularly high compared to previous years. I just wondered whether were they a single issue related, or were they at all vexatious, or was there a pattern to them?
Well, as I say, most of them were from one complainant on the same issue. Some of their complaints related to an individual, some of them related to all of the councillors on the parish council. And it's a dispute, I would say, between an ongoing dispute that's very difficult to resolve. And I think they came to monitoring officer hoping that there would be some movement, but unfortunately it's not for me to deal with. It wasn't council conduct, it was about a dispute that they have. I don't really want to go into any more detail, not to be unhelpful, but I just don't think that'd be helpful here. Some of them are vexatious, some of them are very petty, if I may say. Obviously we do take those very seriously, and we do understand, people do get upset with some conversations, but we didn't feel that they met the threshold.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jan. Does anyone else have any questions or comments? No? In that case, I'll ask Matthew to continue with the report.
Thank you. The next section's around health and safety, and at the request of this committee, we had a debate on health and safety issues for councillors a couple of years ago, and agreed at that point to sign up to the Debate Not Hate campaign. We're sad to say, in a way, that is still very much a live campaign from the Local Government Association, which is obviously trying to foster sort of respectful and civil political debate. And I think all too often it's very difficult for councillors, I think, to operate in the space where they are having sort of free and frank and candid debate. Sometimes, it can get quite heated in a chamber, but it's always, I think, done within the discipline of, the behaviours that are expected. We did adopt the demonstration protocol last year, which was trying to strike that balance between supporting the right to peaceful protest. Obviously, we want people to come along here and express their views. That's helpful for you to understand what people are thinking, so long as they're not disrupting meetings or intimidating you while you're in the chamber, sometimes making quite difficult decisions. So I hope that that protocol strikes the right balance. Alongside that, other measures that we have in place are the customer behaviour incident policy and register. And we make sure that councillors have access to that so that you can see who is on it in case you happen to be dealing with anybody on that register and you need to take measures to try and protect yourself or safeguard yourself in the event that you're having a meeting with them, perhaps, you know, attending with somebody else. And I understand there might have been one or two issues with access to that register, and that's something that we need to have a look at if that's the case. We did recently provide some training by Kent Police, which was looking primarily at online abuse and how you might handle sort of social media activity yourselves and when to report to either us as the council or to the police. And a note there just at the end around the changes to the register of interest such that you don't need to include your home address after the 29th of June to 2026, which means that we will still have sight of that, but it no longer needs to be on public registers, which again, I think is intended to safeguard you and avoid you being targeted, which I know has happened both here and elsewhere before. So I hope that the measures that we've taken are proportionate. Obviously, we can debate that here tonight if there's any more to discuss. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Matthew. Does anyone have any questions or points to raise? Oh, Councillor Hodgkinson.
There we are. Okay. My question just relates to 6D, which is the point about publishing addresses of councillors, and I was wondering whether that applies to parish and town councillors as well.
My understanding is that it does, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Ricketts.
Yeah, again, the register, the behaviour register that we have access to, I think we've found that extremely useful on a couple of occasions. And I was wondering in terms of parishes, so I've had a couple of instances where I've been able to warn one of my parishes because a certain individual was trying to engage with me and with the parish as well. And obviously the parish councils don't have access to that for obvious reasons and aren't necessarily made aware. But perhaps where there's been an issue where the ward councillor is warned not to engage or warned to be very careful, and if perhaps, you know, the ward councillors refuse to meet, they then may switch to the parish council. And I was wondering if there was any kind of mechanism. Obviously, that works quite well if you're a ward councillor that speaks to your parishes quite regularly, then you can make them aware of it. But it's quite an informal thing. So wondering if there might be some way with parish clerks, for instance, for them to be able to check with the city council if they get a particularly problematic individual, just to be able to provide them with some sort of help and assistance.
I think my initial thought is that there are obvious challenges around doing that, which you alluded to. But equally, you're right in thinking that if somebody is putting themselves in danger in public life, then the whole point of this is to try and find ways of negating that. So I support the sentiment, but we just need to find the way through. And if there isn't one, then we'll have to let you know. But I think, again, sorry to say this, but we'll take it away and see what we could do. I think, yes, and it's something that we could also wrap into the parish charter if we have, once we've worked out what we can do and what we can't do, we'll specify that in the charter, and then it will be there as something as a legacy that we can transfer into the new arrangements as well. Happy to do that.
Thank you. Given that it had only occurred to me 5 minutes before, I didn't expect you to have an answer immediately, but I'm happy to work with you on that, because I think it would. The parish charter, I think, is a really good idea for somewhere where you could enshrine that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you both. Councillor Stockley.
Thank you, Chair. Just for clarification, it's my understanding that the contents of this register is confidential, because a lot of the people who are named are have not necessarily been convicted in a court of law. It's a warning, an informal warning to councillors that there may be an issue. So I think sharing it beyond our council at this time is problematic, just to make sure that we all understand that. Thank you.
Yes, I think that's the note of caution, isn't it? Yep.
Okay, does anyone else have anything they want to say on this? No? Okay, then can we please continue with the report?
So in relation to the Code of Conduct, the government did do a consultation on this, published its results in November 25. It's looking at a package of reforms, so we've listed there the key ones, but particularly a mandatory Code of Conduct with an embedded behavioural code. Councils can add to that, but they can't take anything away from it, so absolute bare minimum, that's what's mandatory. And there's looking at powers to suspend councillors for serious breaches and disqualification following repeated suspensions. They're the key bits, but while the government say they're committed to bringing in new legislation, because obviously that will have to change, the Localism Act 2011 brought in the current regime, there's no timescale yet for when that will happen, so it's a watch this space, and we'll report back to you when we hear anything more on that.
Okay, thank you, Jan. Does anyone have any questions or comments? No? In that case, please continue.
Thank you. Under EDI, it's just to note the fact that we do include the implications, equality implications in all of our committee reports, just to make sure that you are aware of the considerations when making decisions. Obviously, we look at, separately, we look at reasonable adjustments for councillors and for staff when they are conducting their duties here at the council. And in terms of public service, we have also considered EDI as part of the Customer Access to Services Working Group activity, which is due to report back shortly through to Overview Committee. So nothing more to add on that. Thank you.
Okay, does anyone have any questions or comments? No? In that case, please continue.
And if not, then the next section is really looking at what the external auditor is looking for in our own arrangements. And then just to sort of describe back to you so that you can understand how some of the things that we look at in the other committees help to frame our governance arrangements overall. So they include evidence of regular performance and budget monitoring, making sure that we've got regular oversight of corporate risks. And obviously all of that goes through the audit committee, plus the budget and performance monitoring goes through scrutiny and cabinet. Interesting to note at point 13, the external auditor's report looking at our overall governance arrangements and then our ethical governance arrangements underneath in the second paragraph on page 12. I think the fact that they gave us a really positive assessment last time is encouraging. Obviously, we can always do more, and the purpose of this report, I think, is to provide them with additional evidence when they look at it next year of what we've put in place, and also the fact that we put it before members and given you an opportunity to comment. On the shared service arrangements, appreciate that they have an additional layer of complexity because of the nature of the organisations and their relationship with us. So we've taken some additional steps this year to try and clarify those through the governance matrix report, which I took round to the Cabinet Advisory Committee, Audit Committee and Scrutiny Committee earlier this year. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Matthew. Does anyone have any questions or comments on that section? No? In that case, please continue.
And last but not least, just on the learning and development side, there's a lot that we do for both staff and councillors. I think the programme of statutory e-learning, we've managed to get really good traction now with staff on working through those, and there's a rolling programme to make sure that everybody has refresher top-ups through an agreed periodic period. And for councillors, I think the emphasis has been more on briefings than training to make sure that you have the appropriate knowledge of certainly the key topics that are making their way through the committee process. So training where it's needed for the statutory committees, certainly things like licensing, planning, audit, code of conduct for full council, etc. But otherwise, it's primarily briefings, and you've got there a summary of the briefings that we've provided over the last couple of years, quite an extensive list, and that list is managed through management team, and then obviously talking to councillors as well about what are the topics that we need to cover, and officers are very keen actually to bring briefings forward and make sure that you have a good understanding of what's coming through. So hopefully that's working for you, and again, happy to take any questions.
Okay, thank you, Matthew. Does anyone have any questions? Oh, I'll take Councillor Mellis first because he's not spoken yet.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for this. I was wondering, as these are statutory e-learning courses that the staff are undertaking, and presumably they're doing other training as well, whether this is can be kind of part of their continuing personal development and can sort of contribute to their portfolio of qualifications in that way. And perhaps many of them, a number of them might be members of the Chartered Institute of Personal Development as well, that kind of, I think, are the governing body in these sort of this sort of field. And similarly, I suppose for councillors, because a number of councillors are working people as well. I mean, so that councillors aren't being a councillor isn't work, but outside of this chamber. And again, is a way in which the training and briefings that the councillors receive can be put into that CPD as well, because there's a good variety of training, experience, etc. that should be reflected in the person's ability to future employers or to expand their education.
I think that's an excellent idea, really positive. Not sure if we could put the briefings on CPD, but certainly the statutory e-learning we could, and I'll take that one away and talk to our HR team.
Okay, thank you, Matthew. Councillor Stockley.
Thank you. It's basically been covered what he said.
Does anyone else have any questions? No? Okay, in that case, we're done with the report, aren't we now, Matthew? Okay, so if nobody else has got any questions or points on anything in the report, then we'll move on to the next. Then we need to agree the report by general assent. So do we have that? Brilliant. Thank you, everyone. Okay, we'll now move on to item 6, which is any other urgent business to be dealt with in public. We don't have any this evening. So we'll move on to item 7. We don't need to exclude the meeting for press and public because we don't have any. So item 8 is can close the business, the meeting. Thank you everyone for coming tonight, and